Thomas, it's up for grabs now!
Magic ball from Bergkamp to Patrick Vieira!
Oh, would you believe it? Oh, right, what a way to get it!
Fabulous solo goal by Thierry Henry.
Champions.
Oh, it's all moved around. Good evening. Do you want to move it back, Shaheen? Good evening and welcome to the Arsenal Lounge special one this evening as the full team are back and he's here just like the Grim Reaper. But before we go into the obvious, we'll just say hello to the loyal regulars that have been here every Monday through the good times and the bad. Starting with Tom. How you doing, bro? Good to see you
all
again.
good, mate. Likewise, good to have the boy back. Its timing is impeccable, obviously, but no, it's good to be back and back to full strength. Unlike Arsenal, of course.
Yeah, obviously, and no least, should I say, none the less than Tom. He's a top guy. I made a big meal of this, but anyway, how you doing? How you doing, Mo? You good?
Was that me?
Yeah, that was you, Mo. I didn't want to do a fanfare. Sorry.
I'm good. I'm very, very good.
I made a mess of it, so I quit while I was behind.
Fair enough. Listen, I am usually this season with this podcast used to watching Arsenal. We get 3 points, and I come and talk to Lev, and I come and talk to Tom, and everything's great.
It's all good.
Today, it follows a defeat, first of the season. We're sitting here, me and Tom, at like 8:59. No links being sent out. It's not organised. It's a complete mess.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Arsenal have lost. There's a flipping Moroccan/Algerian curtains are back. It just reminds you of bad times. It reminds you of last season. And I'm trying to think, what encapsulates all of that. And it's that image. That image.
That there.
Right there.
The whirling
he looks happy, doesn't he? He looks happy.
The love that I'm getting from you guys is just... It's too much, man. It's too emotional today. This is too emotional.
He would look happy, wouldn't he? Given how high Arsenal's line was.
I'm surprised he's not wearing the black shirt today, to be honest.
Rashford goes through, he's sitting there like this.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know, what must you guys think of me?
And Shaheen, thank you for putting your comeback ahead by a week. Because you weren't due to come on today, were you? Because and then when we lost, suddenly I got a message from you saying, "Oi, Lev, I'm in." That was like a substitution, like one of them ones. But anyway, without any further ado, welcome back, Shaheen.
Thank you. After all of that, lovely.
Yeah. He hasn't been in Iran. He's been waiting for the good run to end, and here he is now. Shaheen, welcome back to the Arsenal Lounge, bro. How you doing?
Thanks, man. I'm good. I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be doing this show with you guys. I was dreading you three more than what is about to come in the chat, and I see already a lot of people that either go at me in the chat. But I know it's all in good spirit, and I know you guys are playing around. But it's very good to be back, man. It's very good. I missed doing the show. I missed all the hoo-ha and all the chats and all the back and forth with Canton over Odegaard and all that. So I'm happy to be back.
Unsurprised, not only were we winning, but Odegaard was smashing in the goals.
Smashing it up, yeah. And the sun was out as well, and that's gone as well since you've come back. So there you go.
Sorry, my apologies.
The doom and gloom is back on the Arsenal Lounge in Shaheen. But you know what? We needed to balance it out a little bit. It was getting a little bit too silly. But anyway, look, the last few weeks has been really positive, Shaheen. I don't know if you've been watching, but we've been on a good vibes. Lots of good stuff to talk about. Our first acid test we were talking about with Man United. We were worried about it. Now, I'm going to be really honest on this as well. When we were doing predictions, this prediction was the first time I went against my own gut instinct. And you guys in the text in the WhatsApp group, you guys know I put in there, I got a bad feeling about this before the game. So I actually went against myself. I actually thought we were going to lose this game. But I just thought maybe we could carry through with the good vibes. And I'd like to hear what you thought of the game first. I mean, obviously, we could go into the lineups. The usual lineups were, there. Apart from obviously United started with Anthony, we kept the teams pretty similar, other than the fact that we went with Lokonga as a straight swap for the missing Partey. Zinchenko came in for Tierney. So I'll start with you, Mo. How do you feel about the game? Because I feel I'm still a bit frustrated about the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, how do I feel about the game? I really, really don't like Man United.
I hate them.
So how do I feel about the game? I almost don't care how well we play and all of that stuff. It's just I don't want to lose against them, you know. But it was, I almost felt like the fan base just had this expectation that we were going to get screwed over in this game. And, you know, we'll obviously get into the discussion. But the further away from the game that I get, sort of the more aggrieved that I am. Even though I accept it was a foul. And, you know, like many people, they've made a massive distinction between, we're not complaining about the decision in itself, we're complaining about the consistency of decisions. And that's sort of the issue here. And I feel like, you know, for all of the good play, you know, first 10 minutes, it was all them. Then the goal disallowed. We were brilliant. When they scored, you know, yeah, it was against a run of play in my book. And I think largely for the game, we had the ascendancy, but we were very naive, I think, in our tactical setup in terms of our defensive line and that sort of thing. But I'll get into all of that in more detail after. But that's how I feel. I feel mixed and I feel frustrated by it.
Yeah, same. I mean, look, it's difficult because there's quite a lot of good to take out of the game, but the result is all that matters. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. When they started a bit better than us in the first half, I think, but then when we got that counter and scored, it seemed to frighten them and push them back a bit because they come out on a high line press with us, didn't they? And then when we got that quick counter and goal, it seemed to have an effect on them mentally and they dropped back and we started to take over. And it was very much the first goal was a real sucker punch for me. But came out second half, we were dominant, got level. Where did it go wrong for you, Tom? I'll come to you with this.
Where did it go wrong? I mean, as you said, I think it's a game that, you know, for the most part, we had control of. But there was always kind of this feeling as though the way that we played that game, there was always kind of a back door open that could have been exploited on the counter attack. And I've gone back and forth and talked to different people about how we should approach these games. Because for me, you know, if Arsenal want to get to the level of the cities, you know, of this world, I don't really include Liverpool anymore when I talk about the cities, because I do think that City are just on a different level to Liverpool even. I don't think it is a big two. I think it is a big one at this stage. And City go to these games, they go to Old Trafford, they go to Stamford Bridge or Spurs or whatever, and they play like they play everywhere. You know, they try and dominate the game. They try to create plenty of chances. They don't sit back. And I think that Arsenal have gone to places like City and Old Trafford and Anfield and been dominated a lot more than we were at all yesterday. You know, I want to see Arsenal go into these games and approaching them as if we are the confident side, as if we are the better team of the two and play our game. And that is going to have its risks. And someone said to me this morning in my morning show chat box about that they felt that it was quite similar to when City got beat by Spurs. That's kind of the feel that the game had to it. A side that looks the better team, you know, from, you know, just on paper and on the game, but punished because they didn't take the chances when it fell to them. And when they tried to push to get back into it after, you know, conceding, getting hurt on the counter. So where did it go wrong? I think it goes wrong in two parts. Individual errors, unfortunately, from Lokonga that cost us. Some naivety from the manager in terms of substitutions, which I'm sure we'll break down in more detail later on. But yeah, for me, they're the kind of the two. And it's a shame because if you take away Lokonga's two mistakes, I actually think he had a decent game. But the two mistakes are really telling. And that is obviously what we will look to. But I think United were very street smart a lot throughout the game. And we lacked that kind of savviness as well that maybe United did play to.
Well, it's funny you used Spurs and United as the two examples because they play pretty similar in the sense that what they've been doing is they've been sitting back and looking to counter. United are playing at home But when we got behind them that first time, it was almost like, okay, well, they've got pace to get in behind us. So it was almost like they were sucking it up and looking to counter us, knowing they'll get the chances. Maybe without Partey there, that had its effect. I mean, you mentioned Lukonga's mistakes, the space that Eriksen found in midfield to capitalize on. I think we've missed Partey, and this is something easily missed if you're not watching the game, just solely focused on him. But what he does to screen the back four and what he does to stop, take away the spaces to play in. I think we lack that with Lukonga, and we'll go into this discussion later. We've been going tit for tat, Tom, on Twitter about it in regards to...
We're still friends, though.
Of course, mate. But we have argued the case that the centre midfield should have been sorted a while back. It was just as important as left back cover. I think those things are coming back to haunt us a little bit. But before we go into all of that, Shaheen, so you've been watching the games whilst you've been away in Iran with a dodgy satellite dish, or...
No, I haven't actually.
No,
I haven't. I only watched the Man United game because I was back on Sunday. I've followed obviously the results and what's been happening, etc. Which is
you haven't been giving your predictions all the time now every week, have you?
No, I think Mo chased me and you chased me a couple of times.
I was like, no, he can lose the points if he wants.
Well, you're losing the points. You got those points, by the way. Just letting you know.
Yeah, I think I lost the points on Villa game, but I've been really impressed by the start we've made this season so far. It's been really, really good up until now. And Man United game, obviously, it's got positives and negatives that we can take out of the game. I'm in agreement with Tom. I think we were naive in certain areas of the pitch, and the centre midfield. We discussed this. I mean, towards the end of the season, that without Partey it could be a problem, and we saw that it could be a problem. Thomas Partey injury also. It's a bit weird for me. It's a bit strange for me because he was injured towards end of last season, so he didn't play some games, and then the whole of summer, a pre-season started, and then injured again. And the substitutions by Mikel Arteta was strange as well, because our text left straight away, and I was like, "What has he done here? Why all three substitutions in the same time with 20 minutes to go?" It was as if there was something at stake here. It was like it was a final, or it was if you lose this game, you're not going to finish in top four. We lost 2-1 away at Old Trafford. We've lost by far worse scoreline. The result doesn't reflect on the performance at all. We deserve something out of the game, and I felt if he kept the same team a bit longer on the pitch, maybe we could have got a draw out of the game. I mean, look, I'm not the players that he bring on instead of the players who were on the field. I didn't feel that there was an improvement in terms of quality. And for Jesus was superb. I must admit, I really enjoyed watching him. I hope that going forward he gets a bit further up the pitch, because he was dropping quite a lot, and then he reminded me of Lacazette performances where he used to drop, mix it in with defenders, get the ball turning. I like to see him a little bit further up the pitch to score more goals, maybe. But yeah, it's been positive so far this season. That there's not a lot to moan, which is good, and I don't really have anything to moan
apart from your day that you return. This is perfect. Well, look, you spoke about the positives, and like you're right, there was some positives in there. I mean, we went away to Man United, we went away to Old Trafford, and we dominated much of that game. But I think Tom's hit the nail on the head as well, in the sense of it's one thing dominating the game possession wise, but we don't want to go back to the old days of the Wenger days when we had loads of possession, or what City do sometimes, have loads of possession and then get caught with sucker punches and not be clinical enough. And those are the concerns there. And I mean, does anyone, Tom or Mo or Shaheen, I've heard some reports that apparently the Partey injury isn't as bad as Thirst thought and he's back soon. Is that true, or is that just a load of crap that's down there at the moment?
Honestly, I don't think we really know. Go on, man.
Yeah, well, Mikel Arteta did say that, El Neni's months, but Partey is hopefully weeks. So, we don't know what Weeks is, but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a real will to get him back. But because of his record, I hope that the team don't rush him back. Yesterday almost showed that we kind of need him, and with Emile Smith-Rowe getting injured as well, not the same sort of player, obviously, but still a midfielder. And you might kind of think to yourself, well, Odegaard he'd probably be better suited at playing a bit deeper than, let's say, an Emile Smith-Rowe. So that might free Odegaard to drop deeper. Smith-Rowe could come in. And so what I mean to say is that with the knock-on injuries, it becomes harder and harder to kind of like move the pieces of the puzzle around and to get a team together that's still, suiting to their strengths. Europa League on Thursday as well that we have in the mix. Even if it wasn't for that, we'd be thinking of the game on Sunday and thinking like, oh, what we're going to do. But now we've also got that risk in there that could bring further injuries. But look, Partey, let's hope he's back available this month and fingers crossed.
Well, before we go on to those other fixtures, I want to delve in a little bit more into the game very quickly. I mean, firstly, the first goal that we conceded, actually, before we conceded the goal, the 11th minute goal that we thought was a goal, Martinelli burst through. There was a tackle by Odegaard on Eriksen. The referee didn't think it was a foul and let wave play on. The game continued. We score. Suddenly, it gets pulled back. Now, listen, in the grander scheme of things, I'm probably with Mo. By the letter of the law, it's a foul for me, the Eriksen one, right? However, when you look at the other stuff that went on in the same game that weren't deemed as fouls, and then you look at other things that were sort of let play. I think there was a video of a game. I think was it the Newcastle game?
I think it was a Brighton game that was a bit earlier that day.
Oh, Leicester Brighton, that's right. Yeah, there was a massive push, I think, by Tielemans on one of their players, and it was much worse, and they just waved it on, and it was a goal. So I do feel that when it comes to VAR, Arsenal get this microscopic lens out that when it comes to Arsenal, they get this microscopic lens out and they want to find anything. But then there was a situation with, I think it was it Gabriel in the box? He was manhandled. Saka was manhandled. Nothing's given. So, I mean, I'd like to hear your guys' take on that first, the VAR decision that was obviously really costly to us in that game. Starting with Tom.
In the moment, to be honest, watching it in the stadium, I didn't think it was a foul, when I saw it in live. But, having the benefit of the replay, watching it back, as soon as that happened, I turned to Kai Karnat next to me and we both agreed. We were like, they're going to overturn that. But there is no way they're going to allow that to stand. And
were you saying that because you thought it genuinely was, or were you saying that because you're an Arsenal fan and you're just used to it happening to you?
More because a bit of both, to be honest. Being very honest, there is a part of me that thinks that Arsenal are vilified and are picked on in particular. I don't know why there is this obsession with trying to find something wrong with every Arsenal goal that's scored. It feels like they do take longer to look at potential reasons why it wouldn't count, or not take long enough to look at ones we concede. Like the contact on Odegaard. The contact on, was it Eriksen? I think it was. From Odegaard is not much dissimilar to the contact that Ramsdale had on him in the goal that we conceded against Aston Villa. Like being impeded, in that sense. And especially not in terms of the contact from Tyrone Mings on Bukayo Saka in the box. Yeah. When you look at those two incidents, the difference in contact is minimal. The thing for me is, whilst I agree with you that I think upon reflection there is a soft foul there, if the referee in that moment has seen that happen when he was in a very good view of it, and in his mind in that moment, he's gone, that's not enough for a foul for me. VAR does not exist to re-referee games because you would be there with so many decisions if it was. The irony is if, the Martinelli shoots and it's saved, it goes out for a corner. We don't go all the way back to that incident and give Man United a free kick. No. So if he goes to the monitor, which he did, and I think, was it Michael Oliver went yesterday, day before yesterday, and decided not to overturn a decision by looking at the monitor. And Paul Tierney looks at the monitor for, I think, probably around 20 seconds, which is a really long time to look at an incident. And I feel as though if he's looking at it for that long, it's not a clear and obvious decision. And that's the thing. But because it's a soft, quote, foul, I can absolutely see why it was overturned. But at the same time, if we're using VAR in a way which is to not re-referee games, I don't think they should overturn it because it's not a clear and obvious error. So that's where I'm kind of at with it.
Mo, do you agree with that? And also, you could throw into the mix the Spurs-Chelsea game when Cucurella was pulled by the hair. They looked at it.
Yeah, but that's 10 times the contact, isn't it? Like,
and they didn't even deem that as contact. Like, so Mo, where do you stand with this? I mean, do you think, listen, I'm going to be honest to say, as an Arsenal fan, I just feel they're constantly looking at reasons to take a goal away from us.
I don't think that there is like a conspiracy against Arsenal. Like, let's just get that out in the open firstly. But there's a reason why all of us sort of like we're just resigned to the fact that we're going to get a crap decision. We just know if there's a dodgy red card, Arsenal are going to suffer it. And this is the Old Trafford tax, right? When they send a referee over to the monitor, imagine you're that person. Now, just forget referees, forget football. You're just a human being. There's 80,000 people, 70,000 people in that building that you're in, where you come away from that and you think either I stick to my decision and I get absolute pelters, or I reverse it and all of a sudden the crowd are sort of like happy with me. That's obviously, you're human. It's going to have a bit of a bearing. And as soon as they asked them to come over, the writing was on the wall. I am very, very frustrated by that decision because you've just spoken about Cucurella, for example. It should never have gone to VAR. Yeah, with that one, they didn't go back to that and re-referee that incident. With this one, for some reason, they have. And then even in the same game, remember when Ødegaard had that chance where Jesus put it across the box to him, right? And he sort of fluffed it a little bit.
Yeah.
When that ball came back in, Saka brought it down, spun Malacia, and had a shot. Do you remember what happened immediately after the shot?
He went through him. Goes through him. Yeah.
Malacia absolutely clattered him. Now you imagine that same passage of play in the centre circle. Saka plays a 5-yard pass, and Malacia comes and does that.
It's a foul.
It's a foul. It's a yellow card. People are up in arms about it. But for some reason, that one didn't get brought back. There was no VAR check on that, and that's a penalty.
Is it because they think he's taken the shot? That's why.
But
the thing is, I know it's irrelevant, but that'll be the reason that they give.
Yeah, but the thing is, you can complete a pass and get clattered, and it's said to be a late tackle.
Yeah, you can even waive advantage, and if there's no advantage, you call it back.
Anywhere else on the if that happens, say 5-6 yards to the right outside the box, and he crosses it with that amount of power, and he takes him out. They'll give the free kick. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. And the thing is, Tom, if the rule is that, because he took the shot, then actually as a defender, you're always incentivized to smash through a player who's about to take a shot, because then that way, you're going to put him off and there's no dangerous play exists. There's nothing, that can be done to you. So it's just ridiculous. Like in the very same game, there was that incident where I'm thinking, well, come on then, here's your opportunity to be consistent. You went back and used VAR, but now you're not. And I just get fed up of that. But look, it's not just an Arsenal problem. Let's not be conspiracy theorists about this. There's many, many teams this weekend, West Ham, for example, that have suffered this absolute nonsense. And I think some teams are the beneficiaries of it. And, more often than not, that's the frustration. And Man United, in history of the Premier League, have been that team that have benefited from these dodgy decisions more often than anyone else.
Fair enough. Shaheen, you've heard what these guys have been saying. We've touched on the VAR.
Yeah.
Who's that? You could quickly touch on that and also tell me who you think was at fault for the first goal we conceded.
No, I think I agree with Mohi. I don't think there is any conspiracy about Arsenal, and I don't think there is. But unless we change something fundamentally on our refereeing system, it's going to be the same thing, because these are the same guys every season refereeing games, and it's going to have the same outcome. Paul Tierney, Tom said, looked at the screen for quite a while for a VAR check. That shows he's not sure about this either.
And he lives in Manchester.
And he lives in Manchester.
Yeah.
A couple of days ago, there's been some controversial decisions on VARs as well. That must have played in his mind. And the only thing I say, yes, is soft, but had this been the other way around, right? We all would have said, "Oh, this was a foul. Why was it not? Why there's a conspiracy against Arsenal." But by the letter of the law, it was a foul. It got pulled back, and I just think the refereeing in Premier League is very poor compared to other leagues, and I would not be surprised. I mean, I don't know if they picked referees for World Cup or not, but I wouldn't be surprised if there is no English refs in there.
We didn't have one in the last one, did we?
Is it two, Tom?
Yeah, Anthony Taylor and Michael Oliver, I think, are both going to the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, look, to start with, I don't understand why would you pick somebody who's from Greater Manchester to referee a game that because as Mo said earlier, he's going to be thinking, I'm going to come out of the stadium, tomorrow, day after, I'm going to be in an area, I'm going to be going, buying something, this and that. People are going to be seeing me. You would like to think that this is not going to play in his mind, but I'll guarantee you it does. And yeah, I think at the end of the day, it was a foul, got pulled back, and look. As a footballer, you're told never use referee or VAR or this and that as an excuse. Had we played a bit better, had we had a proper midfield, I was always told play in a way that you don't give referee anything, or it doesn't really matter if he's having a good game or not.
I'm really glad you said that, Shaheen, because I do feel like this shouldn't be an hour-long conversation about referees and VAR. Yeah. It's a massive, massive part of the game, but we need to move on. And I reference, for example, Ødegaard missing that chance, and then it comes back in and Saka gets clattered. Ødegaard scores that, the game's completely different. So we have to, and also when you look at Man United's goals as well, there's one thing scoring your own goals, another thing preventing theirs. When you look at the positional sense of the players, right, with a weakened midfield, with no Thomas Partey, for example, when we had the ball, Lokonga and often Xhaka were the wrong side of a lot of the creative Man United players, Eriksen, Fernandes. And when you do that, these creative players, they spend all of their time in a game trying to position themselves between the lines. That's what they try and do all game. So when they get the ball, they know they're on the right side. There's no one in front of them. Head up, look for that pass. We made that very, very easy, and we made them look very, very good. Those two players in particular. Bruno Fernandes has been a dud for months and months and months, and we made him look like his sort of original best when he first came into the league.
Yeah.
So
I agree with you, Mo. I agree with you 100%. Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. I
agree with that.
And I think Tom touched on it as well. I think if you look at Gabriel and Lokonga, I think those two individual mistakes at the end of the day, same thing with Arsenal. How many times we've said that individual mistakes cost us? Because I don't really think, apart from those three substitutions, there's not a lot I can say about Mikel Arteta and his tactics or his approach to the game, right? Sambi Lokonga, we all know, very young guy. Gabriel also, we all know that he's got that rash challenge or a moment of, doing something silly in him. And ultimately, that's what it was.
Yeah, he panicked in that moment, didn't he? I think.
Yeah, you come out so far out, and then you tackle the guy like this, you leave in your position. And I think maybe Zinchenko as well for the first goal. Maybe he was a bit tucked in too much, and he gave a bit of space to.
He got sucked into the central role instead of.
Yeah, I forgot that guy's name. What's his name? Anthony or something.
Yeah,
Anthony. Yeah.
Just one thing. Was Kieran Tierney injured?
No, he was on the bench. He absolutely should have come on in place of Zinchenko. Absolutely should have.
I mean, he played for the last couple of games. I think he played at left back, if I'm not mistaken, and I think he played well. So again, it's one of those things that why you change it unless I saw Zinchenko coming into midfield quite a lot and then going back to.
Would it have been an idea to bring Tierney on and move Zinchenko into the central role and take Lokonga out?
Well, it was a bit. I think if he wanted to do that, I think he should have done that from the start. If he wanted to do that, and I just want to say something as well. I mean, look, I thought yesterday Granit Xhaka played well as well. I just want to say that because he normally gets stick quite a lot, and I think I'd like to praise people when they do well. So I thought he did well yesterday.
One second, Shaheen. I'm going to block someone who's being really racist, bro. And I'm disappointed because it's a guy that hasn't been here for a while and he's just come back on the show and he's being like, I can't have that. So sorry, Maximus, you're coming out. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah. So I think I just those individual mistakes. If we can cut these out, and I know it's easier said than done. That would probably get us maybe 6 points, maybe even more a season. So ultimately, I think it was those things that cost us yesterday.
Well, look, I mean, at the end of the day, we're still top of the league. So it's not all negative. But look, let's go through these player ratings quickly. You've not been on these player ratings, Shaheen. So I'll start with...
Can I just say something before?
Yeah, go on.
I just want to ask you your opinion. I know I'm conscious of time as well. I just want to know, why do you guys think he made those substitutions, all three of them, in the same time with 20 minutes to go?
I think he panicked, mate.
No, I think
But
so
why?
too.
There was not look. Had we lost? Look, we lost this game 3-1. Yeah, nobody is blaming this on Arteta, saying, "Oh, you're this, you're that." Apart from those substitutions, there was not a lot at stake here in terms of this being a cup final, or
none of us are managers, Shaheen. Like, obviously, there's a case of that, but I think all of us can understand that if he taking Zinchenko off, bring on Tierney for him. Don't change the shape because we don't want to get caught.
Yeah.
If you're going to take off Ødegaard, bring on Vieira in place of him. That was fine. Had no issue with that at all. They're very similar players. You don't lose any creativity. And I actually quite liked what I saw of Vieira when he came on. There was one pass in particular that nearly weighed its mate to Martinelli that was frankly out of this world. And then the other change was Nketiah for Lokonga, I think, was the other one. Now, I probably would have taken one of Saka or Martinelli off for Nketiah and move Jesus out to the wider area instead, just to kind of maintain the shape. And it's all well and good me saying this with the benefit of hindsight, of course, and I know that. But I just felt like I kind of want to look more progressive in the future. If in future we're in the same situation, I just don't think we can do that. If you want to take Lokonga off, okay, but move Xhaka into that deeper position and bring on Smith Rowe into the central midfield. It was Smith. Was it Smith Rowe? I think that came on. It was, wasn't it?
Smith Rowe, Vieira.
Yeah, and it just felt like we overcommitted because it worked against Fulham when we took off Tierney and we brought on Nketiah in that game and we went 0 down. It worked, but you can't do that away from home against a team like United who are so good on the counter. It was naive.
I mean, look, I don't want to be negative or be on Mikel Arteta's case, but ultimately, these are the things that I want him to cut out. These mistakes that come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Had we not, as I genuinely believe this, had he not done that, we probably would have. You would get one or two more chances against Man United, especially with Maguire coming on, right? And had he kept the same team, I think we would have got at least one more chance that we could have equalized. And had we equalized, I'll tell you something, Old Trafford would have become very nervous place. The players would have got a bit wobbly. We could have gone on to win.
Oh, mate, when we scored, it was as if someone had taken I'll use Thierry Henry's, example of when Liverpool scored against us in that invincible season. But it felt like someone had removed the breath from Old Trafford. It went silent. It was so deafeningly silent, as the saying goes. It was mad. The Arsenal fans were unreal, by the way. They were brilliant.
Their away support is always unreal.
A bit more better game management by us. I think there was definitely something in that game for us, and I think I'm confident. I'll say it go as far to say as if Thomas Partey was playing in that midfield. I'm confident we would have won that game. And that's made a massive difference. We'll go on to the transfer window close.
Sorry, Lev, I didn't want to.
Yeah. Thanks, Shaheen. Now you're back. Anyway, so very quickly then, player ratings. Let's whiz round. So we'll start with Ramsdale. Shaheen, go.
I'll give him 6.5. His distribution was good. Didn't have a lot to do. I mean, none of the goals was his fault. So I'll take 6.5.
0.5s are back in town. Tom, we will go with, who shall start? Right back, White.
6.5 probably as well. I thought he had a strong game in certain sense. I thought he was really good progressing the ball up the field on the right-hand sides and supported Saka really well. But again, he was in a defence that were caught too high, so I have to place some blame there. So 6.5.
Okay. Mo, Gabriel.
He disappointed me. He really did. I feel like he was very, very rash for.
It's in his locker, isn't it? That's the one thing I worry about with him.
Yeah, Anthony's goal I put on him really because he left the defense completely, at risk. I'd actually give him a 5. I thought he was poor.
Fair enough.
It's fair.
I get Saliba. I don't think Saliba had a bad game, to be honest with you.
Maybe on the last goal, he pushed up a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, it's hard to judge him on that because we're chasing.
But the boy has been really good.
He's been good. I'll probably say it will. I'll probably give him a 6.5 as well. I'll give him a 6.5. Yeah, I don't think there was a far worse than him. So then midfield starting with
Zinchenko first.
Zinchenko. Oh yeah, that's true. Zinchenko. Shaheen, I'll go with you, Zinchenko. I know you love him. I should have given you Odegaard. Huh?
6.
Okay, so that's Zinchenko. Going into midfield now. Xhaka, I'll go with Tom because I know he loves him.
6 again. Progressed to play well, but I think
I thought you would give him at least 7, Tom. He was one of our better players.
He was. There's a lot of 6s. I think it's even though we played well, it's really hard because obviously the 3-1 just takes the gloss off of what was, I thought quite a good attacking performance. But Xhaka, I suppose he has to take that. So
it's mad that we're saying all 6s, but we were enlarged, dominant over United. That's quite weird, isn't it, when we say it like that? So Lokonga, I'll go Mo.
I thought he was brilliant against Villa. I really singled him out for a lot of praise in my 5 at 5 and went into his stats. He was so good, but not yesterday. His positional sense just wasn't at it. 5. I'm sorry, but 5 again.
Okay.
I was really disappointed.
Shaheen really didn't like that rating.
Yeah. Well, he's left because he knows Odegaard's next. That's what it is.
That's a really tough one. The Odegaard rating is one that I just don't want to do because I feel like you can look at it from different angles and come up with completely different numbers.
Do I get to rate Martin Odegaard?
No, it's me. So, because I think you'll be really harsh on him. I actually like Odegaard a lot. I think he's a good footballer. A lot of things go through him. I think a lot of the stuff is missed as well. Without him, that final third, I think would struggle a bit more. So, you know what? I'll just be fair and say 6 because he should have done better in the final third again. And that's another one. He's had a chance. He's missed the ball with a good opportunity. He's done some good things as well. So I'll give him a 6. All right. Who else have we got? Who else have we got on the other side?
Wait, can I just because I think Odegaard's quite an interesting one. People in the chat, what would you give him? I'm just curious to see what sort of like numbers pop up. And Tom, Shaheen, in one number, what would you say?
I would have said he was our best midfielder, so probably a 7.
I'll give him a 5.
5.
Are you serious?
For being Odegaard. It's just for being Odegaard. I reckon Shaheen was bullied by a kid that looked like Odegaard back in the day.
I'm sorry, but the pass through created our goal. The pass across the box to Martinelli was ridiculous. Like that cross that Martinelli should have done. No, I'm on the second pass, mate. If you let me carry it.
He's supposed to be the leader, right? He was taken off after 6
he was not even fully fit, mate. He had one training session before he played.
No, hold on. He's had 0 assists this season. I'll give him. He's at 3 goals.
What?
So forget the 3 goals.
Has he had any assists this season, Tom?
Oh, I don't
I know this for a fact because I checked this before I come on.
Key passes, I think.
Of course you did. You never checked anyone else's assists, but suddenly you're interested in Odegaard.
I'll tell you for this season so far, 0 assists, right? Big chance created 1, crosses 9, through ball 3, accurate long ball 12. Now, listen, I'm not saying Martin Odegaard is a shit player. I'm not saying that. I expect a lot more from him or somebody who plays in that position and wears an armband.
But Shaheen, what's very interesting, often people will say, look, don't watch a game through stats, yeah? And what's really, really interesting is that by your own admission earlier on, you said that you haven't been able to watch all the games because obviously you've been away, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is such a... Pardon?
I'll watch some highlights.
Oh, your mic's a bit off, Shane.
Yeah, I think you said you watched the highlights. But fine, you haven't watched the game. The highlights, they show you what the stats tell you, as far as I'm concerned. They'll show you the the mistake that led to a goal. They'll show you the assist. They'll show you the goal, all of that sort of stuff. They are just kind of the video highlights package. The video stats package, basically. Now, I think this is the perfect example of if you're only looking at Ødegaard through stats, you don't know how well he's played for Arsenal this season so far. But if you've been there watching every second, every minute, he's been brilliant.
No, I didn't. I towards the end, I said he's not a shit player. I'm not saying he is, right? And I said prior to this game in particular.
When Premier League scouts come back from a 2-week trip in Brazil to find the next starlet, they don't turn around and say, "Seen this kid, Neymar, he's not a crap player." They've got a lot more to say.
No, I don't. Listen, hold on. I think you guys are taking this out of context because I'm saying I expect more from this guy.
He's been our best player.
And again, big game.
Bro,
if you haven't watched all the games, he has been our best midfielder
this season so far. He scored 3 goals, no assist. 1 through ball.
I find this great.
Jesus has been our best player.
Because I thought it'd bring out a brilliant discussion. But with Ødegaard, look, our disallowed goal, he was the one that won the ball. Like the key moment in that passage of play was him.
The
press,
pressing,
bringing someone off the ball. Lovely through ball. I think it was Lokonga. Lovely finish by Martinelli. Ødegaard started it. That's what Ødegaard is all about. And that's why I say to people, if you ever think he's having a bad game, just watch him for 5 minutes intently and you'll realise he never actually has a bad game because when he doesn't have the ball, he plays so well. He needs to improve his being a bit clinical and that, I accept that. So that was that one. For the actual goal, it was his incisive pass that broke to Saka. So he won't get the assist. Even for the first goal that got disallowed, he wouldn't have got the assist. But he's the one playing that brave pass. So that's the good things about him. The bad thing about him, awful finish when he had that chance. I mean, not even anywhere close. Completely massive moment in a massive game, and he's cocked it up completely. The other thing as well, he does try and play the difficult pass. He is the creator in chief, so I get it. But he had the lowest passing accuracy of any outfield Arsenal player, including substitutes, with 68%. That's not good enough. So that's really, really poor. And then when you look at his stats as well, he didn't win any fouls for the team. He didn't dribble past anyone. He didn't win any duels. And I know he's not a combative player, but I still want you to have something in your locker there.
Especially if you're a captain of the team.
Yeah, and so there's 2 ways of looking at his performance. And that's why for the life of me, I can't come up with a rating for him.
He won 3 loose ball duels in the game. He recovered the ball 3 times.
Recoveries,
and then when I'm looking at his passing stats, he has expected an assist this season of 1.17. Like he's average, like across the season, he should have more than 1 assist based upon the chances created. Against Man United, he had 5 passes into the box, 6 passes into the final third. This season, he's had 27 passes into the box in 5 games with a 70.4% accuracy. So passes into the box, 70.4% is high. Like you don't find that across too many attacking midfield players. He has been exceptional for us this season.
Yeah, but this is the thing with him. I think he can paint a very different picture.
He's not been okay-ish. I'm sorry, mate, but that's a joke.
We agree on another guy. Listen, I'm going to say he's a decent player, yeah. But for somebody who plays in that position in this team as a captain, I expect a lot more.
Okay, that's fair enough. All right, well there you go. I just think it's going to take a lot for him to really please you, Shaheen. I personally think he's becoming the pivotal sort of player that maybe the Fabregas was in the team before. He plays in that similar sort of style. I'm not saying he's playing that well yet, so don't start pulling faces. I'm just saying he's got that capability of being that man for us. But anyway, let's move on from this because we'll be going on for ages. So we
get that viral.
Oh God, there's a lot worse they could clip up. Trust me. Right, so we did Ødegaard. Right, so let's quickly do the strikers. Saka. We want Saka. Shaheen, go on. Give me Saka.
Saka, again, 6.5 for me. Patches, I think, throughout the game, he was active in certain patches, not so much. But generally 6.5. I just think, I don't know if it's me or you guys get the impression as well. I just think sometimes I feel that he's already tired.
I don't feel that. I just feel like in the final third, he should do better.
Yeah, that as well.
Anyway, okay, so then we've got Martinelli, Tom.
7, I think. He was energetic. Unlucky not to be given the goal in the end. And he was a nightmare for their right back, who was who's escaped. Why does his name escape me? Dallo. Sorry, yeah, he was a nightmare for him. All day.
Well, I'll have to say Saka was a nightmare for Malacia as well.
Malacia,
Malacia.
I think Martinez had a good game, a really good game. I know he was a right annoying little bastard, but he had a good game, and that's what he is. He's going to frustrate a lot of forwards this season. So yeah,
fair enough. And I will go Gabriel, and I'll give Gabriel 7.5.
What, Jesus?
Yeah, didn't score, but he was probably our best player.
Some of
the things he does are insane. I can't believe it.
Amazing, and he took some rough treatment as well that I don't think referee really protected him.
You see that McTominay? You see, at one point he just grabbed him and he just
no way you can stop him.
Varane done it to him as well.
What really annoyed me about that moment, Shaheen, is that no other player got involved. If I'm playing football and someone does that to my teammate,
like your captain, isn't it?
Do you know what? I'm going to ask something. Do you think McTominay should have got sent off?
Well, when you look at the individual moments, where he committed fouls or whatever, then certainly that one with Jesus was an obvious yellow. But there was one before that, very, very early on in the game, where
he pushed Martinelli to the side.
He just pushed him.
But
see, McTominay was clever there because he knows he's not going to get a yellow card that early. So he just thought, I've got a free one. Let me get one in early, and he's gone and done that. But this is a player that. Xhaka, this is becoming such a footballing cliche when you compare every single thing that a referee would think about to Xhaka. But Xhaka is an example of a player that's had to change the way he thinks on the pitch. As in, I'm going to do this. No, I can't do this because I'm going to get a yellow card. McTominay has never had that problem. He's never, ever been challenged by referees the way Xhaka has, or back in the day, Vieira has, for example, where he thinks to himself, I'm not going to get away with this. He gets away with a hell of a lot. Whatever the reasons are for that, I'll leave that.
Well, there was a Virgil van Dijk challenge in the Liverpool game, last game they played. I can't remember who it was. And it was a terrible challenge. It was high, and he came down on
Van Dijk on Onana, I think.
That's it. Yeah, and they turned around and went, "Oh no, that's not." And then I think Saka did one on a United player yesterday. It just scraped the back of his legs, and Gary Neville straight away. Oh, Martinez. It's a terrible one, and blah blah blah.
Van Dijk's a classic example of where it's more difficult to send him off because of his style of play, his elegance, and that sort of thing. You're not used to. You have this thing in your mind already that he's not that sort of player. Whilst with Xhaka, he is, and I don't know how McTominay has got away with being treated so freely by referees.
What shirt he's wearing, Mo?
Yeah, he's a dirty little thing.
He is. I agree. Very quickly, super chat in from Morocco Mole, who says, "Love the shirt, Mo. Thank you, Morocco Mole." So look. You guys have been messing with my schedule, but it's all right. It's good. So look, I wanted to touch on obviously the transfer window. And
touch on it. Just touch on it.
Well, I mean, you guys have given me about 12 minutes, so I don't know what I'm going to do. But look, the transfer window's been and gone. We haven't had the chat since that's happened. I'm going to be straight and say I was very disappointed. Not going to lie. We've been talking about it through the whole window. I've seen a lot of excuses on from people on Twitter and this, that, and the other. But long story short for me, not you in particular, Tom, but long story short for me is we have known all the window that this area needed sorting from last season. We haven't done it. We've left that to the very last minutes. We were lucky enough in a sense. I say lucky in the loosest term in a word, in the sense that Partey got injured with the window still open and not closed. But we still failed to address that situation, and I think that's gone a long way to that result at Old Trafford the other day. I don't think Lokonga cuts it at the top level just yet. I mean, he does well against the Villas and all this stuff, but we've seen, it's different when you're playing these bigger teams with those players that can hurt you. It only takes a little bit of space to allow them to exploit that, and that happened with us. So I'd like to hear from you guys as to how you feel about the window closing and not addressing the central midfield position, and where do we go from here for the next few games without Thomas Partey and El Neni? And I'll start with you, Mo.
Oh God, yeah, the transfer window, man. You know, the game after the transfer window, you hope that at least you get a win and it doesn't come into focus straight away. You also think hopefully we won't get an injury or injuries around that deadline day. Hopefully you won't get many injuries, so it doesn't undermine the decision the club has taken. But you know, we've had no luck. Zinchenko doubt, Erdegaard doubt, ESR injured after the game, a defeat, the midfield area not looking good, an area we need to strengthen. It's just very, very frustrating. I'm nervous now because you know, this Man United game was 6 games in 19 days. It was a schedule of 6 in 19, and we've lost the first one of that. We've got some really tough games coming up that are made tougher by Europa League. So yeah, I'm just nervous. I'm disappointed that the club didn't add, and they did it in January. But on the other hand, I think to myself, look, we haven't seen Marquinhos play. We haven't seen Vieira play at all, right, this season. Had we not signed them early on the window and signed them on deadline day, I reckon the mood would be very different right now. So I think we need a little bit of luck with injuries. We need Vieira and Marquinhos to be able to be proper first-team players. And then we might feel that actually we don't need that wide player that we were hoping for. It's the central midfield area for me. That's a massive worry. And even if you recall, Ramsdale was a bit of a doubt as well because he got a bit of treatment in the last game.
You keep dangling that Turner carrot to me. I don't like him, Mo.
He hates him.
I'm a bit nervous on that one as well, I must admit.
Stop putting it out into the universe, guys. I don't want that.
Will it into existence. He's throwing his own net on Thursday. You know it's going
to. We don't know if Turner's any good. He's not a young guy, and he's never played at any serious team in Europe.
Is he not? He's the US number 1. Wow. International football.
Yeah, but Iran's better than America. We've already established this.
Nah, we'll see what happens.
Who's the Iranian goalkeeper?
Let's not start that.
Shaheen, who's the Iranian goalkeeper? Go. There you go.
Like if I say you would know who he is.
Yeah, I would.
Do you know?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, we would. Ronaldo's penalty in World Cup. Remember, Bayram Mand, his name is.
Oh,
all right. Is he better than Turner?
Is he better than Turner?
I have no idea about Turner, bro. That's what worries me. That's why I'm stressed out. If something happens to Ramsdale, he could be another Renaissance.
Tom, I don't want to upset Shaheen here, but I would like Arsenal to operate a policy of no matter who the hell we sign, they have to be better than the Iranian national in that position.
That's the benchmark.
Is that the benchmark? I'm not too happy about that benchmark because there's quite a few players that you can fit into that. All right, so what's the solution, guys? Is where I'm going at them for you guys. Tom, I'll come to you.
Can I just say something on that level?
No, because you're killing my time. You're killing my airtime, Shaheen. Right?
Come on, this Iran. You've got to let him come back.
Oh, God. And then you guys will be going, go.
Transfer. It's got nothing to do with
I've got 10 extra minutes. I can go to 10 past.
Okay.
Yeah, if we can just diss Iran.
I just want to say something, yeah? You remember that night that we went out for a meal? We recorded a video with Mo. And I got a lot.
You waited till I left. I noticed that. Yeah.
Is that the one when he said we're gonna sign someone?
And I put Mo on the spot on that video. And I said to him, are you confident, Mo, that Arsenal are going to sign a replacement for Thomas Partey, a second striker, and a proper cover for left back? And he said, yes, 100%, without any hesitation.
That was after eating a £200 steak and smoking shisha.
I've got a lot of stick on that
video. He's claiming Zinchenko, I know he is.
People call me, you're this, you're that. No. Hold on.
We've got Zinchenko left back. We've got Zinchenko centre mid. Have you ever seen Zinchenko have a bad game as a centre forward?
No. Hold
exactly.
On. Right? Don't even try that. This has got nothing to do with you.
It's not a bad. I think Zinchenko's a great midfielder.
I'm just saying, a lot of people called me, you're negative. There's a lot of time left. Why you this? Why you that? I've seen Arsenal do this a lot. Right?
They called you negative because you gave Zinchenko, Jesus, Vieira, Marquinhos, and Turner a 5 out of 10, mate. That's why they called you negative.
No, listen, Tom. When the season finished, the first thing I said is if something happens to Thomas Partey, we've got problems.
Yeah, we have
never got addressed. If something happens to Tierney, we've got problems. That was addressed, right? We had major problems up front. We signed Jesus, which I was happy about, and I still am. We kept Nketiah. Again, if something happens to Jesus, Nketiah I'm a bit nervous on that one. We sold Bernd Leno. We'll replace Burnley with somebody who's arguably a decrease in quality as a backup keeper. And I just want to point out that when we put videos out, right, and you guys start having a go at people, oh, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that. Sometimes maybe they do have a point, and you just have to wait it out and see how it unfolds. So that's what I wanted to say.
I have to admit, I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. I had faith in Arsenal to go and do that, and we didn't.
I think our argument as fans, and like what we were saying as well throughout the whole thing, was we've seen it time and time again. Arsenal, whether you want to call it bad luck or whether you want to call it a training issue, we get wherever there's a crucial injury, it will happen to Arsenal at the worst time. So we were expecting Arsenal to go in and do something about the Thomas Partey thing. They did it with the left back, with Tierney and with Zinchenko, and we assumed that Zinchenko was a cover for centre mid as well. But we always maintained that we needed someone for Partey, and they just haven't addressed it even after he got injured. Tom, how do you feel about it now the window's closed? And what should we be doing for the games moving forward? Should we carry on with Lokonga or should we be doing something different?
I'll answer the second question first. I think we do play Lokonga against Zurich. I think we do play Lokonga against Everton, because the only way in which he becomes ready is by playing. And to be honest, until El Neni and Partey are back, we don't have too much choice. The only other choices are play Zinchenko in midfield and put Tierney at left back, or play Ben White as the deepest midfielder. He has played there. I did a whole article on it with an interview with someone who was, the reporter at the Sussex Live for Brighton, and he's watched him play a number of times in midfield for Brighton, and he said he did very well there. So he can adapt. He's adapted to right back brilliantly. So, I think that White could do a decent job there. But I would think that sticking with Lokonga is probably the better idea in the next two games, which are very winnable. And I think we saw Lokonga play against Villa, and I thought he would do, as Mo said earlier, really, really well in that game. So yes, I think he can play that position. I think we just need to give him some consistent game time, and now he's got the chance. Regarding the window, look, there's no debate about whether or not it was disappointing that we didn't bring in a midfielder. It is absolutely disappointing. My thing about the midfield is that if we bring in someone that needs to replace Partey, for me it has to be a competitor to Partey. Because as soon as you invest in a 5-year contract on a midfielder, you are investing in that player to be the investment of that position for that, at least 1 or 2 seasons minimum. So for me, I think we need to, in the summer, look to actually replace Partey, or have the aim of when we bring someone in that they're as good as, if not better, to give us more than Partey. Hopefully qualifying for the Champions League, which I think is a very realistic aim this season, should be the minimum expectation this season. That clout should hopefully give us the opportunity to go and find someone. I don't think there was someone in this window personally who gave us a competitor to Partey. And that's why I don't think he's a competitor. He's not even starting for Spurs, mate. He's on the bench.
He started the last game, didn't he?
No, he was on the bench for the last game.
But doesn't he fit? I didn't want to go down this Basuma route, but doesn't he fit? Let's
talk about him as a player. That's fine.
No, but doesn't he fit that actual type of player that you're discussing, though? Someone that can take over from Thomas Partey.
I don't want someone to take over. I want someone to compete and replace him.
But he would have competed. He's 25 years old. Thomas Partey would have had his injury concerns, so Basuma would have had to come in. He would have had opportunities to make that position his own. He's proven himself in the Premier League. He's performed very well in that position at Brighton for a number of seasons.
Tom, are you saying that he's a different type of player to Partey?
But Partey's best position isn't where he's currently playing. I think Partey is the best player we have that can play in 6, but I think Partey's best position is probably where Xhaka's operating right now, slightly ahead of the 6. I think that's his best role. So for me, just a second, Lev. For me, I think Arsenal need their own version of Fabinho or Rodri. That's what Arsenal need for me. I don't think Basuma is as close to those two in terms of being good. Okay. If you invest in, go on.
Yeah, your knowledge of European players is far better than me.
It's not amazing. I mean,
it's a lot better than me, right? And who would you say is a player that would potentially come and do that job? Because I don't know anyone.
It's a fair question. It's a fair question, and for me right now, finding someone of that level is not. I don't think there is an available profile on the market to do that for Partey. However, and I was doing a phone-in show earlier on, and Mohammed actually came on, who's one of our listeners in the chat box, in the lounge, and he actually turned around and was like, "Look, we found out that El Neni and Partey were injured on the Friday and Saturday before the deadline. Chelsea pivoted on deadline day and got Dennis Zakaria in on loan. And I don't have an argument as to why bringing in Dennis Zakaria on loan for a season, no risk. Yes, he's got injury issues, but they're not our issues after the loan finishes. I think he would have been a fine cover for a season. Because I personally don't think the option out there is there to go and get the player I personally want.
Yeah,
I would have had no issue with Zakaria coming on loan for a season. None at all.
Tom, on that, it sounds like what you're looking for is like a real technician. Someone that's
Fabinho or Rodri. That's what I want, Mo.
Yeah. So Bellingham is the obvious answer.
Absolutely.
Can we afford him? Absolutely not.
Not this window, no.
Pardon?
Not this window, but next window. Yeah. If he's one of two signings that we need to make for the first 11, and we've qualified for the Champions League, go to Dortmund and say he's 70 million quid. We'll take him.
Yeah. Or someone like a Kimmich, I think would be a great. I think he's a great player. I think he can play in so many positions. You need someone like a Verratti. Obviously, I'm not saying we're going to go and get Verratti, but that type of player, I agree with you fully on that. And with Thomas Partey, I feel like he's just too injury prone. It's just too much of an important position, and we're suffering. Also, the Frankie De Jong as well.
What about Calvin Phillips, Mo?
Yeah, agreed.
He's gone to
went City, didn't he?
City.
Yeah, he went. So he was gettable. I don't know how much he went for.
I don't think he's the Fabinho Rodri level, though. I don't
think he's that sort of technician that we need.
Is he not?
Paul Pogba was the one that
he could have done the job for us yesterday.
Explored, but
Look, I think the problem is, personally, we could talk about players and what type of player fits whatever, but at the same time, my issue is we went into this season knowing that if Partey got injured, the level dropped dramatically from Partey to an El Neni or an inexperienced Lokonga. And we had that last season. We should have learned from it. Even if you wanted to do what Tom suggested, which is a loan for a season or two, just for somebody with that little bit more than those guys, I would have been happy. Zakaria was a perfect example. I don't know. I just think we could have done better and we should have planned better. And, they should have had names waiting to go just in case. And that's my issue with that situation.
I heard a rumor, Lev, that apparently before the injury to El Neni and Partey, and even in a wide position, apparently they weren't looking to sign anyone. I heard that from a source that I've triple checked now. And I've had that aligned, before those injuries. I think we were probably expecting a quiet deadline day, even though we had needs arguably in the wide area. I've had a couple of people say that to me, which I find really disappointing.
Yeah, based on that, would you say that 25 mil was a bit of a panic bit?
Yeah, I think. Look, Luiz is someone that he wouldn't have been a panic buy necessarily because he's not a player that we would have decided on the day to go for because we have scouted Luiz for a long time. We've tracked him for a long time.
Yeah, I remember we were linked to him last season as well. Yeah.
So I would have called it more of a pivot than a panic buy. And he would have been the El Neni kind of replacement for next season. And then, but £25 million is a lot of money for a guy with a year left on his deal. Villa, in my view, are idiots for not accepting that bid. Like, I don't know why on earth they didn't accept it. And I think Arsenal were pretty bemused by the fact they didn't. But we should have. I wouldn't have committed. On reflection, and I was all right about the idea of signing Luiz on deadline day. But in reflection, I think, a loan for someone like a Zakaria on that, or Artur even at Juve, whilst I'm not his biggest fan, just someone on loan for the season, I think would have benefited us. I think they might go for Danilo now in January, though. I think that's what they might do because he seems to be available in January, it seems.
Can I ask you guys a question then, very quickly, right? If you only had one option when the window was open to replace, to get cover in for either the left-back position or someone as good or someone that could compete with Thomas Partey, could do that DM role, which one would you have gone for? Which one was more imperative?
Centre mid all day.
Yeah, because remember at the time we had Nuno Tavares, as well, which we would say
doing well at Marseille at the moment.
Maybe not great, but maybe.
I think Zinchenko does that though, doesn't he? I think Zinchenko covers both positions for us. I was arguing
he
the
clearly
point
doesn't because he's not stepping into that position.
Yeah,
though,
exactly.
Well, that's because he's so integral to this kind of inverted fullback position on the left. Like when he's played, we've been excellent on that side, bar the United game, which arguably he wasn't fully fit for. So I think he's been one of the 4-5 best players.
Why did we? Was Tierney fully fit?
Yeah, this is what I said in the thing.
Why
I
would
said
we drop Tierney and bring in half, not a fully fit?
Because the way we
is he
play
that
is
better than Tierney?
I think he's
Well,
so
it's
much better suited to Arteta's
Lokonga
system.
played so well against Villa. It would have been a bit of a weird one to drop him.
But that happened also last season as well, Mo. Lokonga came in, started really well, then I had a couple of those bigger games and was found a little bit wanting. Same thing happened to Tavares. He started really well when Tierney got injured, and then he had a couple of dodgy games against the bigger sides and lost confidence, and that affected him for the rest of the season.
Sure, but young players are going to have a couple of dodgy games, and also how many times has Lokonga played 3 in a row? It's not, completely easy for him.
I hope he comes good. I rate him. I think he's got potential, but I just think he's a bit young yet for that position. It's a man he's not filled into that body yet. I don't think.
But as Tom said, how's he going to get there? He's got to play. We've got to back him. We've got to have faith in him. We should have signed a central midfielder. Don't get me wrong. But now that we haven't, when he plays at Old Trafford off the back of a really good game when he's coming in the team against Villa, that makes sense to me. In hindsight, it's easy to say Zinchenko should have played there, Tierney should have played left back. But I didn't complain when I saw the lineup at the time. So I'm not now going to, in hindsight, complain based on the result.
So are we in agreement that he should continue with Lokonga in that position?
Well, he doesn't have any
Europa League coming up, yeah.
Yeah, despite those mistakes, yeah. I mean, I'll probably tend to agree with you, and we don't have many other options. And I think
how is he gonna learn and be better if he's?
Yeah, we're just gonna have to go with it now, aren't we? It's as simple as that.
Yeah, because we haven't signed anybody, we're just gonna have to accept that Sambi Lokonga will probably get more time, and he will make mistakes, which is normal. It's a natural process in terms of player development. He needs to play, he needs to make mistakes, and hopefully he learns from them and he becomes a better player. It's either that or we should have sent him out on loan. We didn't. We've kept him, so we might as well play him.
All right, so very quickly, what would you give the window now that it's closed? Because we were discussing this from before.
7.5 for me.
7.5.
Come again?
7.5. He said.
7.5. Yeah.
Fucking no, Tom. That's a bit generous.
We signed 2 world-class players, in my opinion, and I'm buzzing about it. And to be honest, I'm excited to see what Vieira brings.
I wouldn't go as far as saying world-class. They're extremely good players.
I
potentially
think world-class. It would take a hell of an argument to convince me otherwise that Jesus is world-class.
Yeah, I think I'd agree that Jesus is world-class. But I would say 6.5. Around that level, because we needed to sign players and we haven't. And then also the frustration for me is that, what's the benefit of us sending 80 Mason Niles out on loan versus the benefit of keeping him? If we do have a crisis in centre midfield now, who's next? Tell me, if Lokonga gets injured, who's next?
That's another good point. Why let Ainsley Maitland-Niles go if you're not got a replacement ready in central midfield?
I just don't think he's good enough. As well. No, his loan spells has not been successful either. He went to Roma, not great. I think he went. Where did he go prior to that?
West Brom.
Where?
West Brom.
Yeah, West Brom again, not great. And remember, Sam Allardyce took him to play him in centre mid. Not that great. I just think they don't rate him that highly.
Yeah, sure. But you see, the thing is, it's not like he's a young player where there's a real benefit to us of sending him out on loan. We've sent Patino out on loan. Great. I see that. Because he needs to go and get game time. We've got high ambition for him. Maitland-Niles, he's not going to be, a great player. I'd rather just have him for depth because I worry about that central midfield area now if we're not going to sign someone. Well, given that we didn't sign someone. So yeah, 6.5. And that's if I didn't believe in the quality of Zinchenko and Jesus as much as I do, it could have been the same sort of ins and outs in terms of number, but that 6.5 would have been lower. It's only because they're that good that they push it up.
I'm going to go 6 just for those 2. But I really feel we've left ourselves short in central midfield and up front. If Eddie's what we got to rely on, say, God forbid something happens to Jesus long term, I would not fancy our chances with Eddie at top all the way through. But the only godsend we've got as well is the window. I think you've got the World Cup starts in November, doesn't it? I think it's late November the World Cup starts, and then December.
Yeah, 11th.
And then you've got the window. So it might, we might be able to get away with it till then. So let's see what happens. But look, we're running out of time. We're coming up to the last minute. We've got the game.
I won't give my rating. It's all right. We'll leave that.
Go on, give me your rating. Hurry up. Come on, stop being a diva. All right, okay. I don't want an explanation.
The outgoings was ridiculously poor for me. That's why. But
Okay.
I'm happy with Jesus and Zinchenko.
Well, thank goodness for that. Well, so we got FC Zurich on the 8th of September, Europa. And then we've got Arsenal playing Everton at home is our next home game. So very quickly find out what your thoughts are and a prediction. Do we take predictions for Europa? Are we going to have that as a bonus? The Europa bonus points?
We've got something. Mo's been kind enough to create something which says what we've done.
Can you put it up
so far?
Shaheen? I was trying to get it. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Hey. Oh, thanks for that picture, Mo. That's great. I love that. That's wonderful.
Have you seen his picture, Tom? Have you seen Mo's picture and the rest of our pictures?
Oh no, look at it. Look at that.
Mo's got a Little Woods catalogue pose going on.
We've all got Twitter pages. We've all got other socials, and he's gone with that.
I look like I'm on the
Twitter. I think I know where that picture has been taken as well.
From today's stream.
But listen, can I say? Actually, I did this. I multitasked whilst doing the pod, and I've just taken images from the pod of you guys.
You did.
You're a genius, Mo.
I don't have a photo library of all of your flipping faces, so I had to work with what I've got. And Tom, that's what you gave me to work with, mate.
Well, and that's Shaheen's face watching Odegaard there.
Lev. Lev is doing well. I think he's trying to make up for last season.
And had I gone with my heart and said Man United were going to beat us, I'd be
two perfect scores.
Yeah, no messing around, bro.
He's got more points now than he did in 16 games last season.
Yeah, I'm not doing well. Last season, 7 points and 1 perfect score.
Guys, I'm like that sort of player. He needs a season to bed himself in, get used to how it works, and that's what's happened. But look, so FC Zurich, what are you expecting? Very quickly, we're running out of time. These guys need to go. FC Zurich and predictions for both them. Are we taking predictions for the Europa as well?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, okay. So we've got Europa bonus ball as well. There you go. So I'll start with Tom.
No. You start with you, Lev.
I'll start with me because I'm on the top.
Yeah, you're top. We go that way.
All right, okay. So the FC Zurich game, I expect us to win. I don't really know much about them, but I'm guessing we're going to put some sort of a second string side out. But I don't think we can really afford to. So I'm expecting us to put a decent side out, and I'm going to go with 2-0 win against FC Zurich, and then the Arsenal Everton game. I'm also going to go for a 2-0. Yeah, 2-0 win at home at the Emirates.
Is it home or away?
I just said at home at the Emirates.
Right, me next then.
For you, that's away because you never go. Sorry.
I was thinking 2-0 as well against Zurich. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to agree with Lev there. Everton away. That's going to be a difficult one.
Is it away or is it at home?
Wait a second. No, it's at home. Sorry, it's at home. Yeah.
I shouldn't have told you. I should just let you carry it on.
Yeah, Zurich is your away game. I do think we'll beat them. It's about can we keep a flipping clean sheet or not. I'm going to say 2-1 Arsenal.
Okay. We haven't kept a clean sheet at the Emirates yet, have we?
Yeah.
Good point. Okay.
Oh, that's a great point. We haven't, have we?
It's about time.
For Europa League, I would say...
it's Tom now because you're bottom of the table, mate.
Yeah, you're bottom, mate.
Don't forget your place. Yeah.
All right. Fuck, he's on top of the table once and know your place.
You got to make the most of it while you're there.
Zurich, I'll go 2-0. And
so 2-0
Everton.
Zurich.
Yeah. No.
I'll see what you did there.
And Everton, I'll go 3-0.
Oh, it's gone different today. Okay. Yeah. Coming in. Were you last year's winner, Shaheen?
Europa League 3-0. 2-1 Arsenal against Everton.
Perfect. Okay.
So Europa League 3-0, you said, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, he's gone for a 3-0 win.
And Everton was 2-1, you say, yeah?
Correct.
Yeah.
All documented.
All there. And I like that little scoreboard. You should keep that going, Mo. I like it.
I don't know if I can be bothered. As soon as I'm not, if I end up at the bottom, I'm not putting it together. I'm telling you that right. If I'm top, I'll probably keep going.
Okay. Yeah. So I think we've covered everything now, yeah? I think that's it, guys. So
Yeah, one
predictions
last
spot
thing
on.
though, I'd say. I don't
Go
know
on,
if you
man.
guys saw this, but Ty
Yeah,
was
I saw that. Yeah.
treated like crap outside the ground at Old Trafford. Horrible. It's so annoying. These fans, these cowards, see sort of an easy target and they try and take the mick a little bit, makes themselves feel a bit better about themselves, really bang out of order. But the reason I mention it is because Mark Brindle, Arsenal's supporter liaison officer, was the one that put his arm around him, after a little while of him, taking some unfair abuse or whatever. And he took him away. And you know what? Credit to Mark Brindle. He's one of those unsung people at the club that actually does really, really good work. So good on him for putting himself in that situation to help Ty out. And, it should have been someone that Ty was rolling with on the day. But, well done, Mark Brindle.
No, fair play. Yeah, I did see that video. Well, it didn't look very nice. And to be honest with you, I don't envy any of those lads after the games walking around. I'm just happy I can go to the games and not, I'm not big like Tom and Mo. Don't get spotted in the crowd so much. So, I don't have
Well, it's not a problem for Tom. He's in the press box, isn't he? He's protected.
No.
He's got his prawn sandwiches.
There was no prawn sandwiches.
Yeah, poor Mo's cousin the other day was complaining he didn't get to spend enough time with Mo because everyone was stopping him for photos. So.
Oh yeah, what's that been about? I see Mo rocking up in the boxes lately. What's going on, Mo?
It's just a pre-recorded video that Tom gave me, and then I fake it.
Oh, I see you going on the boxes there. Every game I see there's a story coming up. Mo in a box. Oh, this is Arsenal done this. It's all right, You're rolling big now.
I don't know about that.
Well done. I'm impressed, mate.
You need to
Which
catch
box
up on
is
a
yours?
few
What's
things.
your box number, Mo?
Tom, what was it again?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Right. So are you done now, Shaheen? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm done.
All right. Thank you.
Just before we go, one more thing. I just want to say congratulations to Tom on his big day, man. Wish you all the
Cheers,
best.
mate.
Yeah.
Okay,
Congrats.
Big heart.
That's the most insincere thing ever.
He's got a big
Congrats.
big heart.
No
And
problem
look,
at all.
to you guys in the chat, I'm really sorry. I know we usually give you some time to ask questions, but Shaheen coming back was just too much excitement going on, and then he dragged it on for too long. But I want to say a big thank you to everyone in the chats. Habimana, Saddam, Dan, we got Frank Ayala. Who else have we got? Nov, Lone
You want to talk
Star.
TVs in the chat room as well?
Yeah, Guna Talk TV's always in the
Quiet.
chat, having it large with everyone.
It's
Mikey
just so many keyboard
Cartel,
warriors, Shaheen. It's just I can't get over
Kunai,
it.
all you guys. And look, there was a couple of guys, well, one in particular was being racist. AQ, it's not you as well, bro. Thank you for being here, and Wayne and all you guys. But look, there was one or two racist comments. I'm not going to have that on here. You can see, look, we've got all colours of the rainbow here. We're all like different ethnicities, all from different backgrounds, and we won't have that. So, like, try and keep it nice when you're here. But thank you so much for being here. This is going to be much more regular now. Shaheen's here. I've got an extra set of hands. We could do some more shows. Keep your notifications on. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. And please smack the likes and let us know your predictions for the upcoming games. All right. And I think that's it, guys. Thank you for joining us here on the Arsenal Lounge. Shaheen, can you do the thing from up there, or do you want me to do that as well?
No, it's all right. I can do it.
You got it, yeah? Right,
Yeah. I just want to tell people, don't forget to subscribe to Tom's channel, the Guna Talk TV, and Mo as well. You can see Mo's reaction after each game.
I'm going to let you take this out, Shaheen, as it's your first time back, so you could do all the goodbyes as well. I know.
I'm going to be all nervous now.
Yeah,
Thank you all for being here. Have a wonderful evening. Peace out.